There's trouble in Kamala land. Uh-oh. There's a trouble. Because the Trump camp is saying that Kamala is fumbling in key swing states. So first of all, let's go ahead and play this video here. Shot the hotspot. Because as it stands right now, NBC is admitting Kamala's lead over Trump has completely evaporated. Oh my God. So does that mean that we've been lied to the whole time by Democrats? Wait a minute. To quote the great prophet Cat Williams,
all lies will be exposed.
All lies shall and will be exposed. NBC admitting that Kamala's lead over Trump is evaporating. Goodness gracious, Cretaceous, say it ain't so.
Kristen Welker is the moderator of Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning. Great to see you. As always, I understand you all are going to roll out a new NBC News poll this morning. What jumped out at you as you sifted through it?
Well, Willie, the big headline, this is a national...
Uh-oh. And you could see a little bit of the panic in her eyes. Like, I better say something right, or the producers will yell at me again.
Head-to-head poll is that Vice President Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead in our last poll taken a month ago, right after the debate. That lead has all but evaporated, Willie. Take a look at this new head-to-head matchup. 48% to 48%. That is what we call a deadlocked race. It underscores what...
Oh, that's gotta hurt. I'm in pain. No, actually, I'm laughing. Dead heat. Boy, all that polling say that Kamala has us in the bag. Listen, I don't want to celebrate too soon, but Democrats, if you guys have a meltdown, just send me your video clips so you could show me you guys crying and melting down. I mean, I got to do a lot of research, but you know, it's just going to be hilarious if Trump wins and Kamala loses. It's going to be pure gold. It's going to put a smile on my face, actually.
But we all know that this is tight, that the country is sharply divided. One of the other big headlines here, people are viewing the Trump presidency more favorably than the Biden presidency. Why is that significant? We've seen the vice president get pressed repeatedly on what she would do.
Anthony Garza, so much for joy. Oh no, where's the joy? Where's the joy? The joy is gone.
Differently than President Biden, and she's really struggled with that answer. We have new reporting that will roll out on the show this morning, Willie, taking us inside the Harris campaign, where there are discussions about changing her answer on that. Can she draw a distinction on the Middle East, for example, on immigration, all under discussion with this razor-tight race, Willie?
And she continues to say, I am not Joe Biden, but you're right. She'll have to get more specific here down the stretch if she wants to win. Kristen, thank you.
Oh, no, NBC. You don't get away with that. You guys said it's perfectly fine that Kamala's the nominee. All of you pampered her. You gave her cookies and milk, a nice soft pillow, and said she's our nominee now. Everybody shut up. But then you realize, or at least that maybe somebody who was still around in 2020 kind of slowly realized, uh-oh, when Kamala speaks, she sucks. Corporate media, you went to bat for a loser. And it's funny. It's so funny because Kamala can't convince anybody. The Trump camp pumps its chest as Kamala Harris fumbles in key swing states. So what's going on here? As it stands, top operatives from Donald Trump's presidential campaign are very confident in their ability to close strong in swing states, contending Kamala Harris's metrics have collapsed in 7 battlegrounds, likely to decide the presidential election in just over 3 weeks. The memorandum senior advisors Chris Lasvita and Susan Wells, a pollster Tony Fabrizio, sent reporters Sunday, says the Democratic nominee's campaign is cracking with fissures, reveal that the worst possible time for her and the best possible time for Republicans. Noting Real Clear Politics model projects the former president ending up with 296 electoral votes, which is more than enough to win even if a state or two ends up in Harris' hands in November. Team Trump contends the supposed Harris momentum never really existed beyond the confines of July and per the internal battleground state data. Harris has actually slipped marginally post-Labor Day until now in her image and ballot position. She's 5 points underwater in terms of favorability, while she was -3 early last month. And in a head-to-head test with Trump, the vice president is 2 points down. She was dead even with Trump last month. And this is the same guy who's talking about people eating dogs and eating cats. I mean, this campaign that Donald Trump is running, if there was a serious Democratic contender, he would be in trouble. But because the Democrats like to crap the bed the whole time, because Democrats like to be incompetent losers all the time, because Democrats have no idea how to win, or actually they do know how to win, but that means compromising on their values and no longer being the corrupt neoliberal SOBs, because they're not willing to change things, they're going to probably lose to Trump. Now, a lot can happen, and the key thing is voter enthusiasm. How many people are going to be excited to vote on election night? How many people are going to turn out to vote? And right now, Democrats, Kamala Harris is losing favorability amongst black voters, black men and women, Latino men and women, white men and women, Arab and Muslim voters, Asian voters. Your coalition is fumbling and falling apart. You didn't even have a primary in the first place. And even then, after the DNC convention was done, you lost that momentum when RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard gave their endorsements to Donald Trump. Now, was that something earth-shattering? In one hand, yes and no. But the point is, Donald Trump stole Kamala's thunder. And since then, she has been struggling to maintain any kind of significant advantage. She's now tied with Trump. It's just as bad as Biden. And every time Kamala Harris does an interview, she can't even answer real clear questions. She gives word salad after word salad after word salad after word salad. But you don't have to take my word for it. Check out this new action figure doll.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, isn't it?
Why does she talk so weird? Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm going to be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her credibility.
Bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst? Ufta, 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 da.
Luke, I am your mother.
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible. Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you worry, little man. The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say, the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say,
Kamala Janu, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masala.
It's Sid Swish Kamala.
Hey, now in stores. Buy it. Buy it now. Buy it now. Hey, listen. I told you all we're going to have some fun today with this clip. But there's more to look at this. Kamala Harris and her campaign, they're hyping on so many people supporting her, from Hollywood to Democratic establishment leading figures, and it's not enough. They got the Clintons out there. They got the Obamas out there. They got that nutless cuck of a wonder, Bernie Sanders, out there. They got AOC out there, and it's still not enough. And even then, the Democrats are touting and promoting the fact that people like Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney are endorsing her. Listen, there's a reason why the establishment Republicans lost to Trump, not once, but twice, but 3 times too, because a lot of Republican voters don't like people like Bush or Cheney. And these old guard politicians, I remember a time when a lot of liberals and Democrats were saying, let's jail Dick Cheney, and now they're all happy that Dick's all in for Kamala. That's right, you heard what I said. Dick's all in for Kamala, no pullout. This is a family-friendly show. Get your minds out the gutter. Shame on my audience. Shame on all of you. But here, let's check this out. This is from Counterpoints from everybody's favorite action-packed guy, Ryan Grimm. Enlighten us about this whole Kamala Cheney thing.
But also look what we're witnessing right now with Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris. And not just endorsing Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris then does an event with Liz Cheney in Wisconsin, in which she goes out of her way to praise Dick Cheney for his service to the country. This is one of the most notorious villains in modern American history. People talk about Henry Kissinger. Dick Cheney and Henry Kissinger are on the same level of the amount of destruction that they wrought in the world. And to have Kamala Harris, there would have been a different way to handle that, but to actually go out of your way to thank him for his service, this was
what service?
If you
want to specify what service,
Dick Cheney was.
Oh, Democrats. See, that boost that Kamala got, it wasn't a high boost. It was just a little bump, a little nugget. That's all. That's it. And since then, what's happening now? Well, let's look at this hurricane disaster that's happening right before us as Americans all over the areas impacted by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton are struggling to rebuild their lives. And what's the VP doing? Well, don't worry. Billions of dollars are going to go to Israel and Ukraine, but any kind of relief for us, why, we just got to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. Please tell me again, in states like Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, how those voters aren't going to look at the Democrats and Kamala Harris with absolute anger and displeasure. Because if I was a voter in those states, I'd be very upset with the actions of the Biden-Harris administration, because Vice President Harris is, surprise, surprise, the VP to Joe Biden. And what's Joe Biden doing? Nothing. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get to the segment where Joe 30330 regales the people of how his house got hit by lightning. So people of Florida and Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina, he knows what it's like to lose a home, right? By the way, who's the VP for Biden? Kamala. And what was the big brain decision Democrats wanted to do? Bring in establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats to boost up their already failing numbers. Oh, the liberal meltdown will be so delicious if Kamala loses. I can only taste it. And all what I could do is hope and pray that I'll get what I want.
The guy who in Congress, first of all, these guys thought that the Nixon administration was a model for how you should deal with Congress and deal with secrecy. Dick Cheney, when he was in Congress, wrote the so-called Minority Report for the Iran-Contra scandal, saying not only should no one go to jail for this, but this is actually a model for how we should be doing it. They believe that the president, when it comes to quote-unquote national security policy, should effectively operate a dictatorship of the executive, and that Congress's only function is to fund the operations. But then you talk about when they were actually in power. The torture. The man still defends waterboarding. He still defends torture. These were the guys that were big into the warrantless wiretapping, the secret prisons, the torture, the wars of aggression, the declaration that the world is a battlefield. What is Kamala Harris thinking, saying she's thanking this person for his service? To me, though, it's indicative, the Bill Kristol neocon wing, of the Republican Party, it's not, this narrative that they're just concerned about the fate of American democracy is complete nonsense. And actually, it's an insidious narrative, because the truth is, they totally love what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing on a foreign policy level right now in the Middle East. Yeah. They're just like Dick Cheney loved the fact that Obama was able to normalize drone strikes and assassination as a fundamental part of American policy for liberals. And so you message that and people say, oh, well, what are you doing trying to help Trump? Well, what is the Democratic Party doing?
And don't tell that to a liberal. No one remind them how their good friend Barack Obama, whose VP was Joe Biden, how those kids in cages that they like to cry about, those kids are still in cages, and it happened under Obama. Got rid of habeas corpus. The people who caused the 2008 economic collapse got away with it. The Bush-Cheney administration was never held accountable for leading us to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Obama led us from 2 wars to 7. We once again had a systematic corruption and abuse of power. And let's not forget the beginning of the end of our infrastructure, most notably the fact that Flint, Michigan, and lead in his drinking water. Well, that happened under Obama. Obama just licked his lips and said, don't worry, we're going to make sure that Flint has clean drinking water. People of Flint, Michigan, do you have clean drinking water still? I'm gonna say no. A big no. But the Democrats are going to talk down to you that if you decide to vote third party or independent, you're helping Trump. Heaven forbid they bring in war criminals and tyrants and corrupt politicians in to be the examples of justice.
Proactively praising Dick Cheney's record.
Right.
You know, Kamala Harris can't help it if Dick Cheney says, I'd rather have Kamala Harris. But then she goes out of her way to say this about someone that Democrats used to say was one of the most notorious war criminals in modern American history.
But there's more here, too. They're panicking. Everybody's favorite douchebag, James Carville, is nervous. He's scared. More scared than when Biden, the old man Biden, hey, man, who crapped my pants? I'm Joe Biden, and somebody crapped my pants.
You know James Carville, the guy that wrote the book on It's the Economy Stupid during the Clinton years. He's worried about where the race stands right now. Listen to this.
Only thing I feel is the election's coming November 5th. I'm scared to death. They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions and start asking questions. They're doing all this and sitting down with 60 Minutes and sitting down with Colbert and sitting down with... No matter what, if I come on your show, you're going to ask me the question.
That's true.
If I have a press conference, I get to ask the question.
You'd like to see her do more press conferences?
No, James, she can't do it. Kamala can't do it. Why? Because Kamala thought she had an easy job, and she thought that the VP job would be in the bag. So it kind of leads to something that a lot of people have mentioned here and there. Is Kamala Harris a sacrificial lamb for the Democrats to lose so they can be ready in 2028? I think that theory seems to be on point. Kamala, she changes who she is all the time, every time. I wonder how consistent she'll be nearing the end of this election cycle. A lot of liberals are going to be panicking. I remember how smug all of you were. I remember how smug all of you were at the DNC convention, too. Man, the fall will be glorious. I just can't wait to watch and swim in liberal tears.
I'd like her to put more things in place.
Yeah, he didn't want to answer that directly, but Lisa, you were giving me a reaction here while that was playing, so I got to go to you.
Well, the challenge for Kamala Harris is she's a manufactured candidate. You know, as I pointed out, people have rejected her time after time. She was an accidental nominee, and so the media can only prop her up so much. And now that Americans are starting to see her, you know, they don't like her, they reject her. And the challenge for her is she's simultaneously trying to paint the picture I'm a forward-leaning candidate. You know, this is a new page, a new start, yada, yada, yada. While also saying I wouldn't change anything about what Joe Biden has done, what we've done with the Biden administration, despite the fact that those policies have been rejected, despite the fact that the majority of Americans believe we're heading in the wrong direction. So she's trying to speak out of, both sides of her mouth all over the place. So it's just...
And she can't do it. Kamala can't do it at all. You have Obama talking down the black male voters. You have Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney endorsing Kamala. Every interview that she has done, she's struggled on. Every interview that she's participated in, she has no clear answer. Oprah couldn't help her. Steve Colbert can't help her. Even that big interview that she did, her first big interview was her support animal, Tampon Tim, couldn't help her. And that boy, I don't know what's wrong with him, but I saw that video of him operating a weapon. You served in the National Guard. You know how to use your rifle? You don't know how to use it? Huh? I think Dick Cheney's got some words for you. He'll show you how to use it if you're going to go out hunting with him. Just be sure to dodge if he starts pointing his gun erratically. And this will tip in $2. Embrace the empty suit, James Carville. And that's what Kamala Harris is. She is the empty suit. She could very well be the sacrificial lamb in which the Democrats will use so that way they can be ready in 2028. Whatever kind of crap they're going to pull out. But the fact that you got Trump people, independents, third parties calling her out, we've never seen this absolute anger towards Democrats. They're struggling, they're crying, as they should, because the Democrats have proven that they are worthless. Now, I, for one, feel no sympathy for them, but I do get angry at this from time to time when they constantly keep sending me messages begging me for money. Listen, Kamala, Democrats, if you actually were worth anything, you would have actually made our lives better during your last 4 years. You had plenty of time. What was your excuse? Constantly saying, oh no, here comes the woogie boogie boogie, the orange boogeyman. Oh no, third parties are a problem. It's like you keep playing the same song over and over again. Hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat. Let's have some more. Let's have some fun here. All right. Now, both options are terrible, but what would you rather listen to? Type 1 for KSI's weak music that he came out with, or would you want to listen to the excuses that the Democrats want to give to you about why you should vote for Kamala instead of Trump? Which one would you rather sit through? Type in the comment section below. Type 1 for that KSI music. Or type 2, listen to the excuses from Democrats. Neither answer is good. I love this show.